different in kind.
What kind of gas are we talking about?
So you'll have CO, carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, you have hydrogen fluoride, you have a whole host, sulfur dioxide, you have a whole host of gases that come off when they burn. There is no gas release on a normal day, normal operation. They do not release anything. The only transfer really is the electrons and then any HVAC, the cooling or heating that needs to happen within the containers, and it's typically just the cooling. So that's the only transfer on a normal basis. But like I said, the gases that come off if a battery does burn are similar to a house fire.
One thing I'll add, a similar debate was had when we did the solar ordinance and when we approved those solar developments. And in working with the fire company, they made it an emphasis knowing that those facilities were coming to do some proactive training and make sure staff was well equipped and the fire companies were well equipped to handle that. They've actually become a model, and several localities that have added solar projects since our project have actually sent some of their fire and rescue personnel to our locality. They've done trainings at the Bartonsville and the Urban Grid facilities for emergency response. So I certainly think the fire marshal's office is well equipped in their feedback to provide sound recommendations on how they would, in their ability to respond to this type of an industry and also to maintain safety. And they've been quite helpful in providing revisions on the fire code.
I would just say, a couple of years ago, several of us will remember we took a potential ordinance change to use sea cans up in, I believe someone in Shawnee Land might have asked to use it for outdoor storage. And the big concern was aesthetics. You know, some of them aren't real pretty. So I mean, when I look at this thing, I'm seeing a sea can, and aesthetics to me are gonna be a real issue, particularly if you decide one of these is gonna go in next to a residential area. And I think we've gotta look at some kind of design standard to make it more aesthetically pleasing than what I'm looking at here, which I don't think is very aesthetically pleasing. It may be functional, it may work great for what its purpose is, but it's ugly as sin.
To also, just to also provide some context, we do have buffer requirements in the draft ordinance. In regards to this one, this is actually located in the heart of the industrial park, which is also why they weren't overly concerned with implementing any buffers on that one. But yes, that is good feedback. We will work that in.
So Eric, are these used for backup in the event of electrical interruption? Or are these used for private companies and replacement for generators?
It could be a bit of both. In this case with developers like these, usually they're using them as backup for general service. What they'll do is during off hours when energy is cheaper, they'll take that energy from the grid, pop it into their generator, or their batteries, let it sit there, and then they'll sell it off at a later date. With this particular facility, this is being used specifically for the city of Danville's facilities. So it takes energy off the grid and then uses it to subsidize their, I believe it's their school system and public works sites.
I would be in favor of waiting for the state model ordinance. I appreciate what you sent to me earlier today. But I mean, Amelia County was the first county in Virginia to implement this, and that was just less than 4 years ago. I mean, most of them are just doing it 2 or 3 years ago. And I'm just not sure we know enough at this point to get our arms around everything that could potentially be a concern. But I'd like to see what the state has to say before we.
I think you all recall kind of how the data centers played out at the state level, where there was a report done by the Joint Legislative Committee, and then there was subsequent years of legislation, which this was the first year that was implemented. So certainly would be likely, based on the research that Mr. Bittner's done, that there's going to be changes about the siting and the regulation, whether they require them to be allowed as an accessory use like they're done for solar projects or other siting criteria. So certainly, changes are coming, and if we were to implement something on our end, we may have to pivot back and change depending on what the state code enables us to do.
That's what we're trying to avoid with the thing you described
And then, sorry, just a minor clarification, with that, Amelia County adopted their ordinance in 2022, they were the oldest that we've had found in our research. I can't say for certain that they're the oldest one, I did not go through and check all 103 localities in the state of Virginia.
Thank you.
So it sounds like we maybe want to wait for the state's guidance. Does anybody else feel different to that? Okay.
Mr. Vice Chair, that is the end of your agenda for this evening. Appreciate you all moving through that so that Mr. Botor can get to his event this evening. If you have anything else you'd like to add, Mr. McKay, before joining, that would be appropriate.
Another for me, we have to adjourn. All those in favor?